All right, yes. So we are finally in the last session of our International Greek Ancestry Conference this weekend. The last panel here is called The Future of Greek Genealogy. But to begin with that, we are going to have Paul Pavlakos do a presentation on the Greece 200 initiative. To introduce Paul Pavlakos is co-chair of Greece 200, a past supreme president of the Sons of Pericles, and the EHEPA Sons of Pericles advisor for New York. He has worked for several years to empower the youth of the Hellenic diaspora, establishing initiatives and creating processes which allow for the promotion of Hellenism, service to the community, and strengthening of ethnic bonds. In his professional life, Paul is a tax associate for international tax at KPMG in Manhattan, New York. He obtained an LLM in taxation from New York University and a Juris Doctor and Bachelor's in International Affairs from Florida State University. We're very excited to have him with us alongside Carol, Georgia, and Gregory, who probably don't need any further introductions, but are wonderful to have with us today also. So with that, I guess we can get started with you, Paul.
Sure. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you again for having me. Really happy to be here and kind of promote what we've been doing with Greece 200. And of course, first of all, congratulations for what seems like an incredibly successful Ancestry conference. I've been following it over the weekend, and it's been incredible what you've been able to pull off over the last weekend and kind of the activity and engagement that I've seen. So, you know, really happy to be here, promote what we've been doing. As kind of was said, I'm the co-chair of Greece 200, and I guess I can talk a little bit about what Greece 200 is generally and kind of the purpose it was formed, and then get into a little bit of the Your Story initiative that Greg and I first discussed collaborating on, and kind of a lot of the reason why we decided to work together, because it fits so well with Greek ancestry, kind of getting back in touch with our roots. So Greece 200 on a high level, the purpose of us forming this committee, now an organization as of this past week, was to really unite the youth of the Hellenic diaspora to celebrate the Greek bicentennial. We knew that the bicentennial was coming up. It would be a huge international holiday and commemoration of really, you know, 1821 as an event, but 200 years of history that followed after that. And really, you know, we're celebrating the birth of modern Greece, and there's a lot to be said for that history, that culture that has developed. We wanted with Greece to ensure that the younger generation was in the discussion and in those celebrations, leading and actively engaged. So that's kind of why we formed this committee, this organization, to pull together the youth, have them work together, celebrate the bicentennial, and you know, kind of have this one cohesive, coordinated program to strengthen our ethnic bonds in celebration of 2021. When it comes to the Your Story initiative in particular, what we're doing with that, kind of the purpose behind that was, again, to promote our Hellenic culture and our roots. Obviously, our culture, you know, there's tangible aspects to it, the language, the food, the dancing, but there's intangible aspects of that as well. There's our shared values, our shared history, and really our story that binds us together. A lot of us have very common family stories when we really look into it, and that's what one of the things we find out when we kind of look into our ancestors and our family history, how similar the experiences that we have are just by virtue of being Hellenic and of Hellenic descent, or even Phil-Hellenic and interested in the culture. So what we wanted to really do is bring to light that commonality, that shared bond that we have, by asking people through our Your Story initiative to submit their family history, submit their stories, submit where they're from, where they are now, how their family got to be where they are, and various stories about their ancestors, their history. And what we're finding already is how many commonalities there are. I know, you know, Carol and I spoke this past week, and turns out we're both from Sparti. So very small world, and you know, you have a lot of that where you just find out you're from the same chorio, you have these same stories that you can then just share back and forth. And that's what we wanted to do with the Your Story initiative. Now that will culminate, what we've been doing is kind of promoting everybody's story each week, but we want that to culminate in what will essentially be an interactive map, hopefully by the end of the calendar year at least, where we kind of gather everybody's story and kind of show the migration patterns from Greece to the rest of the diaspora. And what we're hoping is you get this perfect visual of just how far spread the Greek community is worldwide. And of course, with that, you'll have these stories that are attached, potentially primary sources as well, and kind of start to tie together that we are a lot more common than we are different. And our last 200 years of history really do show that. And that's kind of what our Your Story initiative is meant to do, really kind of show where we're coming from. And then, with that, obviously the lead in being, because it's the young generation, the conversation that follows naturally is, well, where are we going now? Where do the next 200 years lead us? And that's kind of what Greece 200 and the Your Story initiative is trying to serve as kind of the bridge between the past and the future. That's actually kind of the slogan that we came up with as an organization, is honoring our past by building our future, which we view the bicentennial as, we are preserving our past, yes, but this is a perfect opportunity to discuss, where are we going from here? What does our future look like? We hope it's bright, but there's work that we need to do to get to that point. And that's what we're hoping the young generation can be involved in, actively lead, and be engaged in.
Thank you, Paul. It's really, really interesting. And I think that after your presentation today, there will be many people submitting their stories. At the moment, I think we have about 170 people watching.
Great.
So and we urge all of them to just go ahead and submit the stories. You do not have to write like pages and pages. You can just say, my family's from that village, they came to the States that year, or anything you think is important you want to share. Paul, are you also like collecting photos and stuff?
We aren't currently, but I think it's something that we can definitely do. We've talked about it before, and kind of the discussion has been what the workload would be like. But I think we can very easily, and I may even do so right after this, add something to our submission where you can upload files for those who have them. And kind of the goal, again, if we're going to create this map, when you highlight over somebody's migration path, if you hover over it, hopefully you'll be able to see their story. And if we have more information, photos, I've been talking to some people that have old diaries they found of their ancestors, which is really interesting, to be able to kind of look at those and read those as these primary documents. So definitely something we can add on. The one thing I will say about submissions, just, for everybody watching, is if like I said, we're promoting the stories, and we have checked, you can either attach your name to it, or you can remain anonymous. So if you feel like you want to share your story, but you feel maybe not comfortable being tagged on social media, that's perfectly fine. Just go ahead and check that box. But at least we can kind of have the story, and, it'll be an anonymous story, but it still contributes to that history. So I encourage everyone, no matter your preference, to still go ahead and submit, and we'll make sure that those things are respected.
Great. Carol, you're mute.
Let me just interject something here. When Gregory first told me that he had contacted you, and I just jumped right on the site. It is so easy to fill out that form, and it just, because I've been working my family history for a while, all I did was just sit down and just type a paragraph or two and submit it. And do you know how happy it made me to do that? It made me so happy, because every time we put our family name out there, and we put who we are, who our grandparents are, or whoever, great grandparents if you're much younger than me, it memorializes them. It's another place where their name is out there and they're not forgotten. And it gave me such a thrill. So thank you for this initiative. I see it going a lot farther than just the bicentennial. I see it just growing in the years to come. So congratulations. Thank you.
And that is kind of our, that's incredible to hear, and very, very touching and inspirational. So I'm very happy that sentiment is shared. And also I think that's our goal, right? So the bicentennial, it's 1 year, but really it's a starting point again to where are we going from here. And I think that's the point of a lot of these initiatives that we formed, Your Story initiatives, even some other ones. It's about celebrating this year, but it's really about using this as a launching point for other things. This interactive map, when it comes to fruition, is going to have a lot of benefits outside of just the bicentennial. But what better time to start this than celebrating the start of modern Greece, which really was the start of this history that we're talking about now. So
I
I think
can just see people clicking, like my family came into Brooklyn. I can't wait to click on Brooklyn and see all the other people whose families were there, because right now the only way that we have to connect is just finding somebody on an online tree, or somebody posts something on a website and we're like, oh, are you from there? You know, your grandparents came from there, so did mine. But now, I mean, can you imagine just clicking on Indianapolis, Indiana, and just seeing all the people there, or Canberra, Australia? I am absolutely besotten with this whole idea. This is phenomenal. So I wish you every success, and please let us know how we can help and support this initiative. This is amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, even ideas, right? So, you know, we've gotten started with something, but even really Greg's idea to, you know, what about photos, or what about primary sources? That's something maybe we didn't really think about at the beginning, but if people have suggestions, things they'd like to see, it's very easy with these submission forms to just add a file upload button, right? And then kind of work out how that fits into the map. But making this a true community project is really what this is about. I mean, this is about all of us working together, not a few people just kind of telling us how it's going to be. So even to the extent that people have ideas on, you know, we'd like to see this, or we'd like to push forward into this, obviously, you know, from the three of you who have done so much work already in this respect would mean a lot as well. But you know, I think that's really how we make this even more successful, is by cooperating and working together and sharing ideas, sharing past experiences, rather than reinventing the wheel constantly. If something hasn't worked, and you know, that can be informed to us, then we can adapt quicker and and do something that's more successful and more beneficial to everybody, not just a small group of people.
It reminds me of the wall at Ellis Island where all the names are.
Mm-hmm.
Like I imagine something similar eventually.
Yeah. That's what we're hoping for. Yeah.
Diasporans or something. I think this is what you do is phenomenal.
And yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that's kind of our hope. And, you know, to the point of obviously showing how connected we are, because you see all these names and you kind of, Carol, as you mentioned, memorialize them every time you write them down. From our perspective too, though, as well, it's got a personal touch, of course, because it's our family, our history, but it also shows, when you start looking at these stories, how much Greeks have contributed to modern society. Even, you know, we talk about ancient Greeks all the time, but really in just the last 200 years alone, the influences that Greeks have had on not just Greece and not just the Greek community, but the entire United States, all of Europe, Australia, really the entire international community has been substantially affected by either the Greek people directly or the values that they share and uphold and promote, right? So I think with a lot of these stories, we're going to see that too, right? So you know, if somebody submits their story and says my papu came from this choryo, they came to America, became, you know, the head of this company, and this company now does all these things, that's a contribution. Not only is that impressive for us in the community, that's a contribution that person has made to society, to their community outside of the Hellenic community, and that's really something that should be celebrated as well. I mean, that was no different in 1821, and it's no different now, where you have these people who are Hellenes or Philhellenes making massive contributions to society, and that's something we hope to celebrate.
And one other thing, if I can clarify, okay, so somebody can click on a map, so they can click on a map in Toronto or anywhere else, and they'll see the people there, but can they also click on the map in Greece and see the names from a particular area in Greece? Or is it only going to be in the diaspora
So the intention, and that's why we ask where you're from as well, the intention, and of course, you know, we'll have to work with programmers and kind of people that are more expert than I am at this particular sort of thing at the logistics, but the intention is to actually have the line that shows you came from this choryo and ended up here. So you will be able to see that pattern that comes from Greece. And of course, you're gonna end up seeing a huge sprawl of from Greece to other areas. But what's probably going to be interesting, I would imagine at least, the more people that submit this, you're probably going to have a few people that come from elsewhere in Greece, because there's already a diaspora community outside of Greece for the last 600 years, really, right? Mm-hmm. So those are still members of the diaspora, but their line might not even start in Greece. It may start in, you know, in Russia and France. I think we had a couple submissions that were actually from South America. Their lineage goes back that far, but they're a part of the diaspora. So yeah, I mean, it'll be where that person's story starts, and of course, a lot will be from Greece. But to me, also, what's interesting is you'll probably see a lot from the entire international community, maybe then emigrating to the U.S. or Canada or Australia.
Wow.
So
Let
So
me,
yeah, I mean,
let me tell you, we already have like about 10 people in the chat on YouTube asking for contact information and the website for Greece 200. So yeah, we already provided people with the website. It's www.bicentennialgreece.org, and then you will find the link to your story.
yeah, and one thing we really did try to do is if you go to, we gave the link for the homepage of the website, but if you go to the website, you'll see, at least our hope is that it's pretty simple to navigate. It's clean. There's not a lot on there. We don't want to overwhelm people. And we're trying to really streamline our initiatives because we understand there is a lot going on right now. So hopefully it's easy to kind of just navigate to the Your Story site. It's on the top right corner of our homepage, and you'll be able to see a very quick submission form. I would say if you already know your family history, it will maybe take 45 seconds to complete, honestly. It's very simple, just few lines. If you don't want to give a story, you can just say, my family's from this Korea, this is where I live now, and you'll at least have a line included. If there's no details, then it'll just be the line itself. And, at least, again, everybody contributing what they can, I think, is going to be the key to success for this initiative, at least. Really for all of them, but for this one in particular.
Great. Okay, thank you, Paul. Now it's time for the closing remarks. Paul, you do not have to stay connected if you are bored or something.
No, I'd be happy to listen if that's okay with you. Yeah. I mean.
Sure. So first off, let me ask Carol and Georgia if they want to say anything first. About
Carol?
No, I just want to say thank you to everybody for participating. And Greg, I think you'll probably be talking about things that you're planning to do as well. Will you be mentioning the webinars? Because we've had so many people. I've been writing down comments and I've been writing down questions, and there's just so many topics for future webinars and educational videos. So thank you, everybody, for being with us.
To do another series of webinars. Like last year in 2020, we did 2 series, one started in April and lasted up to June, I think, with 7 webinars. In fall, we did 4 more. And we are scheduling new webinars for late spring.
Great.
So everyone, just make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel because you will be getting notifications for new webinars and videos uploaded.
And if people have an idea for a webinar, can they contact you?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Great.
Oh, I've got a couple to submit already.
Wonderful.
Listen, I just want to say that this whole conference was Greg's dream child, okay? I would have never done this on my own. As a matter of fact, I had to buy, I just had to really, he put it together. Carol organized everything. It was wonderful, you guys. You did a great job. And Greg, it was a great idea.
Thank you. Thank you, Georgia. No, I think like we have had about, I think, 16 or 17 participants and 9 sessions. We covered a wide variety of topics, and we covered nothing. There's so much more to talk about. Maybe next year, who knows? So you are all wondering what we are about to announce. We have promised to say something, and we will. So I believe that Greece 200, Paul's initiative, is a very good example of how the field of genealogy and family history research needs to evolve in the future. We need more cooperation. We need to share information, to make it available to and easily accessible to others, because we need to realize that your family history intersects with those of others. It's all one. Like the history of my family is just a little, tile in the mosaic of Greek history. So on the first day of the conference, we met a group of amazing people who not only worked on their own family history, but also dedicated their lives to reconstructing the history of the families of entire areas in Lefkada, in Corinth, in Laconia, and realizing the importance of such works, I have decided to launch a Village History Projects initiative. The purpose of this project is to encourage researchers to share family and or village histories with people who also have ties to that name or location. Our goal is to help people connect and exchange information by fostering collaboration. Sharing a project is defined as posting an extensive family tree on any genealogy forum, tribal pages, Ancestry, MyHeritage, Genie, or Wikitree, whatever, creating a website dedicated to a village in Greece or containing family history information, or writing a family or village history ebook, which is free to access and posted online. We understand a village history project to focus beyond a specific surname, to include all identifiable, or as many as possible, identifiable people residing in a specific village and for an extended period of time, so to make it more historical. It includes all projects, so whether you are planning, whether you have already started, whether you have already made a huge progress. And although we believe that although projects of this scope are continually updated, they can still be shared so others can view and give feedback or assistance. So what is this Greek Ancestry Village History Projects Initiative? Greek Ancestry will support such projects in 4 ways. So first of all, we have already created a register of village history projects. That's available on the Greek Ancestry website under Education. At the moment, there will be a separate tab, maybe tomorrow. The register includes information on such projects, the area, the time period that they cover, the name of the sponsor, his or her contact information, and links to the project's website or published materials. The register will be available and accessible for free so that all of you can find a project of interest. Let's say you come from my village, Yeraki, or from the village nearby, Karitsa. There is the Family Trees of Southern Partner website, which has 40, 50,000 people in family trees from those specific villages and the surrounding area. Secondly, Greek Ancestry will be publicizing individual projects in order to spread the word and attract more interest and support for them. So when you register under this platform, we will support you by letting others know what you're doing. Third, we are going to support these projects by offering a reduced price for records from that specific village or area. So if you are interested in many records from a specific village, we do not expect anyone to spend lots of money, especially when we're talking about people who do this on their own and relying on their own resources. And I am super excited about this. So we will be giving financial support to a project through the Greek Ancestry Village History Projects Fund. This fund will be supported through revenue from the Greek genealogy guide that Alexandra announced in the previous session. So revenue from the guide will partly be directed to support this fund, which will be just for you. Do you need a subscription somewhere? Okay, we'll pay for it. Do you need DNA kits? We'll pay for it. Do you need records? Do you need a website? Whatever. We are going to support you as much as we can. We will do whatever we can to support village history projects and to encourage their success. Now, to apply for this program, to have your project listed on Greek Ancestry and be considered for the discounted records and financial support, you only need to fill out a form, which you will find on Greek Ancestry under Education Village History Projects Initiative. And actually, let me just real quick share my screen to show you exactly where it is and how to find it. So this is the Greek Ancestry website. Okay, so under Education, Village History Projects Initiative, there's a little description here. You can see the register. We already have 2 registrations, the Family Trees of Southern Pardon and a new website started by Carol and Georgia for their ancestral village, Agios Ioannis, which had no written history before. Now it has something. And here, if you click here, you are taken to this form. Again, a description of the project, and then you just fill out your information. You explain, you describe what you're doing or what you want to do, and submit your application. Now, I would like to thank Carol, Georgia, Alexandra, and we had, I don't know, I'm sure you noticed, but at the beginning of each day, we had some really, really nice music played for you. So that band is called Pentaiko. They are all young musicians in Greece. I think they are all based in Athens. They are all my age, in their 20s. I think they started a couple of years ago. They have a website. Their music is available on YouTube and also I think on Spotify and other music platforms. And we asked them to prepare those 2 videos only for the International Greek Ancestry Conference, and they gladly accepted. So we thank them very, very much. And I have nothing else to say, but thank you again. If someone from the panel wants to add something. Okay, I guess everybody's thinking, thank you again. So we will end this conference. We will wish you all to be healthy, happy in this year. We hope it's going to be a better one, and we will do our best to make it a better one.
Gregory, before you sign off, there were many people this morning who missed Stathi's presentation, Stathi's Kefalidis. Could you please talk about that a little bit? And that's extremely exciting and groundbreaking.
It is. So originally we were planning to start today at 2 p.m. Eastern, but we had to make an exception and start a bit earlier because Stathis Kefalidis, former governor of HEPA, Greece, has launched a very, very, very important project. Stathis's goal is to make genealogy a national policy in Greece. And the idea is that HEPA, and HEPA has formed a committee. Stathis is the head. I'm also part of the committee. And the idea is to urge Greek municipalities and all other organizations which have significant archival collections to digitize their records and to make them available through a generic database, which will be accessible through, let's say, a special Greek state service. So the idea is that you will be able to just go on a website or go to your consulate and really, really easy and fast get information for your family. And we're not talking about just one record, but genealogical information. You will be able to build a family tree based on records which are currently not easily accessible, like the ones preserved in municipalities. I think I cannot say more than that, but I believe that if this project is realized, I do believe it will be realized. It just takes determination, and when it is realized, it's going to change everything. The way we do genealogy, the way we apply for Greek citizenship, how easy it is to travel to Greece with a Greek passport eventually. So I think this is really a groundbreaking initiative.
Gregory, let me just jump in and say that I don't believe that Mr. Kefalidis would have come on an international conference and make the announcement if there was not real hope and a real effort to get this going. In other words, this isn't just a dream. I think this is something that is definitely being discussed and that they're pursuing avenues to make this happen. It may take a little while, but the fact is that this is the first time ever that we've had any interest on the part of the Greek government to open up their records and to come into the 21st century and make this information available to people. So I just can't imagine what a joy it is just to hear this announcement.
I can assure you that there is interest and support at the highest governmental levels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's just hope, that we need luck. Like, you know what I mean? And nothing happens to impede this. Just right. All right. I think this is a very optimistic way to close the conference. Again, thank you everyone for participating, for attending, for your support and kind words. The videos will be available on YouTube. We'll never take them down. So if you want to go back and re-watch a session or see something you have missed, the videos will be just waiting for you.
Thank you, Gregory.
Thank you, Georgia.
Great, it went really well. Thank you.
Thank you all as well.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.